Adrian, you've got an update on a story that got a lot of people talking.
You bet. This one is about a French-language television network that has apologized for a false report that had very real consequences. According to the TVA report, 2 Montreal mosques asked a construction company to exclude female construction workers from a nearby work site during Friday prayers. That report sparked death threats and outrage online, but mosque officials have said repeatedly the report is false, and they said it again today.
And women working in anywhere, any place, we don't have any problem. Welcome, always the welcome here.
The Quebec Construction Commission investigated, and the supposed evidence in the story collapsed. TVA has now backed away from it.
It's a wake-up call for once, the media should look at these things and learn from it.
That was Quebec Premier Philippe Couillard on CBC Radio this morning.
We almost had the demonstration by an extreme right group because of that.
Apparently, some people still say they're going to attend.
That's so sad, so sad.
He's talking about the group La Meute, which has attracted tens of thousands of followers online. It's a standard bearer for Quebec's anti-Islam far right. That protest they were planning was cancelled. But some still came out this morning convinced the truth was somehow being buried.
I believe they were pressured by the government to say that this interview is fake, whatever, but I don't think I was lying.
The CBC's Jonathan Montpetit has been following this story, and really few journalists know Quebec's far right as well as he does. He joins me now from Montreal. And Jonathan, the story isn't true, and yet today in the bitter cold, there were still a few protesters in front of that mosque. What do you think this says about what the TVA story triggered?
Well, I think it indicates just how widely shared this story was on social media, and especially the social media of Quebec's far right. Now, the Quebec's far right, as we know, it's kind of grown in size and prominence over the last 2 years or so, and really it has done so by exploiting stories like this, exploiting stories about so-called reasonable accommodation, about how Quebec society adapts to religious or ethnic minorities. And this story really kind of hit the right note in terms of that kind of issue. Now, the story was debunked, but I think there's a lot of people, certainly online, who still believe it's true, or at least want to believe it's true.
And TVA has apologized, so, can we just say that's the end of it?
Unlikely. While the 2 mosques involved in the story have accepted the apology, they are still considering whether or not they're going to sue TVA. And a lot of damage was done, but the mosques also kind of took the opportunity to correct some misperceptions about their community, pointing out that they do support gender equality. Now, as for La Meute, the largest far-right group here in Quebec, they chose not to partake in today's protest. They thought the optics were bad for them, but they'll be looking for stories like this in the future to really capitalize on. They're kind of at a critical stage in their development. They can either expand into cities like Montreal and increase their influence, or effectively remain marginal rural phenomena.
Well, so true or not, they will hang on. Jonathan Montpetit in Montreal, thank you.
My pleasure.